And it is live. Hi, everyone. This is Laqwanda, and welcome to Laqwanda's Heart. We are going to wait a little bit to allow people to start on. We see there's an ad. It's about 15 seconds coming through, but you can come on in with us. We have the lovely Tarchelle B with us tonight,
Hey, hey,
and
y'all.
and so we're just going to wait for a little bit, um, probably about 5 minutes, and we'll get started. We're not going to keep you guys long tonight, as I generally like to keep the live streams about an hour long, but we're going to dive in deep with Miss Tarchelle B. I'm super, super excited to have her. So we'll probably wait about 2 or 3 more minutes, and then we'll just go ahead and begin to dive in.
All right. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for letting me come on and
I'm excited to
throw my
have
mouth
you
with
too.
you.
Coming back to YouTube for me has been one of my biggest goals since I have been managing my mental health. And I believe I have to thank you personally for helping inspire me to come back to YouTube.
Well,
As a part of that was being on the live stream with you. And I said, you know what, I think I can do, reach out to some great people that I know are doing great things. And, we'll do some live stream chats. So I have you to thank for help bringing this about.
well,
My
I'm
people.
glad you're back.
Oh, thank you. My people, they've slowly forgiven me from inching out of the natural hair community, but I'm thankful that we are able to connect. So much appreciation to you and for everything that you do and everything that you always do and the bravery that you have and that you exhibit every single day as a member of this mental health advocacy community. So kudos to you for all that you do.
And then I have to throw it back at you and I know I said it on my channel, but really in the beginning it was you that inspired me to be able to talk about it because at that time had not even been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I was dealing with depression and some other things, but hadn't had the diagnosis of bipolar disorder. And watching you and hearing you actually say I have bipolar disorder was like life changing. And so when I got the diagnosis, I was like, okay, I can deal with this. I can, I know it's not the end of the world. And, I wasn't afraid to talk about it. It took a little bit, for me to really talk about it and to dive into it. But I knew that God gave me a platform for a reason. Like, and of course, and if you scroll back like 200 videos, I have some natural hair stuff out there too. But I left the natural hair videos, and it's so much easier to just set the camera up and talk or do planner videos than it is to try to set the camera up in the shower and show people what to do and maneuver all of this with products on our hands and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm actually glad that I've kind of transitioned out of the natural hair community. Still,
Well,
even though I'm straight, I just
yes,
got straight
most definitely.
yesterday,
Still
but
team
I am
natural,
still
still team
natural.
natural.
Yeah, still team natural.
So let's go ahead and get started tonight because we are talking about something that, a lot of people wonder about how to do successfully, and that is managing your mental health. And when we're talking about managing your mental health, we're not just talking about individuals who have lived experience with mental health conditions because everyone has mental health. And I think that is one of the things that people miss when we say the word mental health. They forget, just like everyone has physical health, everyone on this planet has mental health.
Exactly.
Everyone might not have a mental health condition, but everyone does have mental health. And it's important for us all to learn how to manage it. And when it comes to mental health and it comes to physical health, we're talking about the concept of wellness. So to open us up, Tarchelle, can you tell us how you look at wellness?
Okay, so wellness, You touched on it a second ago with the physical wellness. I really believe that there are all kinds of wellness. There's like physical wellness, there's mental wellness, there's financial wellness, there's social wellness, and a lot of times we don't think about all of the different aspects of our lives that we need to be well in to make us whole and complete. And so, of course, I focus a lot on mental wellness, but I still believe that you have to have financial wellness and social wellness, um, educational wellness. Like, you know, you really do have to have all of that to be successful and to grow in your life. So, but what wellness is, like just wellness in general, I believe that it's feeling good in that area, that it's being, like I said, like it's being whole in that area. So, um, you feel comfortable with mental wellness. You feel comfortable in who you are in your life situations. Um, you're present, living in the moment, which even for people who don't have mental health conditions, I think that sometimes that gets hard to live in the moment, especially in this social media age. With social wellness, it's having good friends, having support around you. Um, Financial wellness, not having to stress out about your debt, not having to, worry about where the money for the bills are going to come from, or, if you have more month than money. Physical wellness, of course, we all we all need that. And that's just being where you're healthy, where your body is strong and it's able to support you. Your body has to be able to support you. I'm working on that one a lot right now. It's like that's the area where I kind of go astray on. But yeah, your mental wellness, of course, to me, I think is vital because I know what it's like to struggle in that area. And so I take care of my mental health like it's a baby. I mean, like when I say I manage it, I really do manage like every aspect. And I have of course, like I said, the social wellness. I have people around me that help me to manage. So that's part of my social wellness, but it's also part of my mental wellness. Um, and then, of course, those other areas, physical wellness, it ties in too, because if your body's not nourished, if you're not getting your blood circulating, because your blood has to circulate to your brain needs to be hydrated. So you have to drink the water. All of it works together for us to be, really whole. So I know it's a long answer to a short question.
But I think you brought up several points. Is that wellness? When we think about wellness, people are thinking, very very narrow minded, and so you have to understand that there's various parts or various types of wellness that people need to draw from in order to be, like you said, that whole person. And just to say, us women at Healing Black Women, we try to speak at all parts of wellness, and Miss Tarchelle B is one of our contributors with
I
Healing Black
appreciate being
Women.
a
Do
contributor
follow
too.
us on Instagram at Healing Black Women. On Wednesdays, you will hear her inspiration, the things that she has to say to pour into each and every one of us. So you kind of touched up on it a little bit about your personal journey when it comes to managing mental health and wellness. So I want to ask you two questions, because there's one thing about it that you let us know is that you manage, and I like to say this term. I tell people I manage bipolar disorder,
Mhm.
and so I don't say I'm bipolar
I
because
don't say
that
I'm
is not
bipolar.
an adjective
I
for
don't
me,
believe that
and
I'm
that is
bipolar.
not my noun. That is not my noun or my adjective. So
Absolutely.
it is something outside of myself that I manage, and I identify it as something that's outside of myself that I manage. And so with that, how do you manage your mental wellness? And what does that look like for you? Because for those of you that don't know, she indicated earlier that she was in the natural hair community and then she moved into the world of planning. And if you haven't seen one of her videos, get ready for stickers and pins and colors and the prettiest stuff you've ever seen. So if you can explain a little bit more about one, your journey and how that went into your overall personal mental health, how you began to manage your mental health, and what role how planners came into that.
Okay, so I've kind of always been a planner, but it was pen and paper, or actually, it was really more so to-do lists, and and then I became a planner, like a decorative, creative planner. And I will flip the camera around and show you guys a little bit later what I mean by doing decorative planning. And it is very interesting. Yes, I am of age, I'll say of age, and I still play with stickers and I love it. And I still love to put down my colorful stuff and I plan my life out. I plan my days out. Sometimes everything doesn't go to plan. A lot of times, I'm not going to say most of the time, a lot of times everything doesn't go to plan. And we were talking earlier, I'm like, today did not go as planned at all. But having a plan always does keep me more focused. It keeps me grounded because I always know, kind of what I need the structure of my days to be, what I need to do that week. And so that's one reason why I do plan is because it keeps me focused and I'm not all over the place. I'm not forgetting things. I still forget things, but uh, but it keeps me from forgetting too many things. And it just gives me some structure to my life. So I started to incorporate managing my mental health with planning because of course if you've ever been to therapy, they will tell you that you should journal. And for a long time, I could not journal. Like I didn't feel like I could journal because I just had some barriers there. And so instead of journaling, I would track things in my planner. And so, I've never, and I still don't like that whole like, dear diary, today I went to the store and bought a carton of milk and, 2 dozen eggs. I don't like that kind of journaling. But I found that I could track what was going on throughout my days in my planner. And I can look back and I can say, on September 15th of 2018, this is what was going on. And then I also started finding that if I use my planner to do things like track my moods, to track things that, like if something triggers me that day and I write it down, I can go back and look for patterns. And I can look like, okay, is it a certain time of the month that I'm more, in a different mood, or is it a certain event that happens when I get triggered? And I just started managing my mental health using my planners, and it helps a lot. And then also, being able to track like if I'm taking my vitamins, if I'm taking my medicine, you know, I have trackers for all of that stuff. Here's one of my vitamin trackers. It's not in my planner right now, but this one I used for a while. I switch up all the time because I'm a creative. But if I'm tracking those things and there are changes, I can see, oh, well, I missed taking my vitamins 4 days this week. So maybe that's why I'm feeling like this right now. Um, so yeah, so I love using my planners to track. And when I came back to YouTube, I started showing other people I would how I track my mental health with my planners. And so that's where my growth came. Like I grew a lot really quickly on YouTube. So hopefully that's you know It'll make sense when I flip this camera.
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing in what you were saying is that you said, how therapists always say, you should journal, but that didn't sit well with you. And
Mm-hmm.
so instead of just sitting there, you started to utilize your strengths that you already had, and then incorporating it in a way to where you could still get the benefits as if you would journal. Myself
Absolutely.
personally, I am not a journaler, even though I write. But when I write, I'm writing things like articles. And that's where, and I'm getting out, okay, I had this incident happen, over the week, but here are the tips that I did, to get through that. And for me, that's how I'm able to manage and to get through and to document, those things that I'm using, because there's an article in existence now, and I'm holding myself accountable to what I've written on that page. And I'm also a very visual person. So for me to remember things, like for me, and I'll just move the camera, my door has these large sayings on my door, and they're also on my wall, because I need those things to see. And so I think it's key when you hit that, when you feel like, okay, a therapist is telling me that I should be doing this. However, it doesn't sit well with you. That's okay, because you can still look at your strengths and try to find out what is the better way for you to do this activity, get the same results, but do it in a way that you would be able to do it. And I think you did a beautiful job in demonstrating that with saying, hey, I ain't writing dear Tarchelle. I'm
I
writing
can't
dear
do it.
Tarchelle tonight. We're going to break out this planner and we're going to get these stickers. We're going to insert this paper and we're going to do it this way.
And just to show you kind of what I'm talking about, it's, like this is a planner. So I can tell you that on on Wednesday, what is this? January 2nd, I scheduled my mammogram and I scheduled a therapy session. I went to Target, the post office, and Walmart. It's like I have it there, and I still put in some of some of my feelings and moods and things like that. And trust, I have a lot of planners. If I told y'all how many planners I have, y'all would be like, yeah, she's crazy. But it's that creative outlet for me. Like putting the stickers down, that's therapeutic when I can just come in my office and sit and do that. And like right there, I have my focus for that week was balance, which actually that's my focus for the year. Um, but I put those words down like you have it on your door. I have different quotes and different things in my planner that I reference back to, and so it helps so much. It really does. And of course, planning isn't for everyone. I wish it was. I'm trying to get my husband to be a planner. He has one, but he won't use it. But it for me, it was where I found that peace, where I found that perfect balance of being able to get my feelings out, because I do use a planner to journal. Um, in the mornings, I have a gratitude journal, and it's actually a planner that I've just started journaling in. Um, but being able to get those emotions out and also get those to-do lists out, and also be able to track the moods and track what I'm eating and what I'm drinking and that kind of stuff. It's For me, it was just the perfect balance of everything I needed to do.
And that has to also be, Tarshelle, like a sense, especially when you have your to-do list and you see yourself moving through it, then you can see those little accomplishments that you're making throughout the day when you're thinking, oh, I'm not doing anything, but then you're noticing that things are checked off. And even when, those days aren't so great, you still have a list to go back to and you're not finding yourself, all over the place when you need to take a rest emotionally and mentally.
Absolutely. And even like I have a daily sheet that I created. I actually did one online, and it has those basic things like take a shower, drink your water, eat, because every day is not going to be a day that I'm going to Walmart, Target, and where else? Oh, the post office. Like every day is not that day. I still have some days where it's hard for me to put my feet on the floor. And taking a shower and being able to check that off the list is a major accomplishment. And so that's, those kinds of things we have to be able to celebrate those small things on days like that. On a normal day, taking a shower doesn't seem like much. But when you are dealing with a depressive episode, taking a shower might be like, lifting a 2-ton weight.
And
It's not.
I think you hit the nail on the head that some days, our difficult days, are truly, truly, truly difficult. I have a letter to myself that's taped on my bed where it says, if you can't get it right to today, try it again tomorrow. But these are the things that have to take place. Try your best to take a shower. Your meds are not negotiable. That's the letter that I wrote to myself. Your medication is not negotiable. You have to get out of the bed and go take your medication.
And
And
I have my morning med and my night med beside my bed, just in case.
yeah,
Just in case
mine
I can't
I
pull
keep
myself.
mine in the bathroom to encourage me. And I think when we're talking about this management, it's all the little things that you do while you're well, going back to that readiness plan that you do while you're well, so that when you're ill, it can make it easier for yourself. Like for me, for instance, I one of the difficulties that I have is eating when I'm in a depressive episode. So, I'm in the house by myself. My husband and I live in different states. So I have to I found out that if I keep a bar stool in the kitchen, then I can sit down and cut up everything that I need, and I'm not wasting energy standing up. And then I bake things more often. So I'm not standing in the kitchen when I don't have energy, and I'm more inclined to go in and to cook. I keep everything that I need to get ready in the morning in a caddy. So, when I go into the bathroom, it's just right there. And this is a little extreme because some people probably won't do this, but I literally changed the majority of my wardrobe to dresses just so that I could, during depressive episodes, I can just slide something on and I'm dressed. There's no
Hmm.
matching. If I want to just throw on tennis shoes with a dress, I can do that. But, it's just those little things that you do while you're well so that when you're not feeling well, that you can still be able to function. Because it is during those times that sometimes we really are struggling to function at that basic level, like eating and taking a shower or even trying to get out of the bed.
Oh yeah. And that's a good idea to have a stool in the kitchen, because a lot of times that is one thing that keeps me from cooking. But the way that you bake, um, I use the crock pot because I know I can just throw it in there and I don't have to go back in the kitchen until, 5, 6 hours later. And when I go back in there, it's done. I can turn the crock pot off and that's it. And then I can tell my husband and my son that they can just, go fix your plate. I don't have to do anything. Like there's nothing really for me. Um, and even if I don't feel like, if I don't feel like putting away the leftovers, I'll put the whole crock pot. Well, I mean, I take out the dish, but that part of it, I'll put it in the refrigerator. Probably shouldn't do that, but reality is we have those days. And then even sometimes, of course, with bipolar disorder, and there are so many other disorders. I don't want to just talk about one, Um, but with bipolar disorder, it's not just depression. There's the manic side too. And, it's the going. And it's so easy to knock things over and break things and forget things. And like you're spinning on, just really spinning around. Your mind is going so fast that you really can't, you start a lot of things, but don't get anything done. And so I have to kind of have a plan to manage that too. And it's not easy. A lot of people would think, oh well, that should be easy. No, it's not easy. um Honestly, I did tell my doctor, can you give me a pill to keep me in hypomania, because then I can do whatever I want to do. And I'm not tired, I don't need to sleep, I'm creative. But your body's not designed to function like that at that level for an extended period of time. And so then you have, some physical problems that start happening because your brain is um your brain is making accommodations for you to be able to move. So it's pulling from other parts of your body. So yeah, I mean, like, we have to have a plan for everything. And keeping keeping up with that plan and managing that plan, it has to be done when you're well, because when you're not well, you can't create a plan, you can't even think straight. Whether in mania, your plan would be scribbles. It would be scribbles, and it would be all over the place. And if you try to create a plan when you're depressed, it just won't get done, period. Like, it's not. So yeah, the key to, and let me go back and say, it doesn't matter even if you don't have a diagnosed mental illness. I believe that you should have plans for when you go through things anyway. The same way with like a like financial wellness. You have an emergency fund. It's, well, I can't say you have an emergency fund, but it's always good to have an emergency fund. With mental wellness, I believe everybody should have an emergency plan. Who are you going to call? What are you going to do when you're depressed? Do you have some coloring books? When you're stressed out, a lot of us will do things like we'll overeat, or we'll, overspend. They call it shop therapy. Uh, and we do things that we shouldn't be doing. And you don't have to have a diagnosed mental illness to do that. But how are you going to compensate in a healthy way? So, to me, we should all have a wellness plan. Well, we should all have kind of a crisis plan. For me, I call it a crisis plan. But like, what do you do when you're having a day kind of like I had? I went and got my nails done and did some self-care things. My power went out this morning and like threw my whole day into kind of a tailspin. So yeah, I went in and did self-care. So
Most definitely, most definitely. And we're not ignoring you guys. I see you on the chat. Plans and plans, it says, I love that we can have this conversation. Yesterday was not so good day, but I'm at a point where I can be nice to myself. And I think that's so important. Getting to a point to where you're nice to yourself, because sometimes our thoughts will try to trick us into believing that we should be able to get through this and try to beat ourselves up when we're manic, or beat ourselves up when you're experiencing anxiety, or beating yourself up, when you're depressed. And the fact of the matter is that we have chronic illnesses. And because we have these chronic illnesses, some days we will have a good day and some days that we're not. So we have to practice. And it is a practice and it is a process, because you're fighting against your own thoughts, to be nice to yourself and to say, hey, I need to be okay today. And it's okay, if today is not a great day, because I can start tomorrow. I can do what I can today, and be okay with what you can do today, and not, allow yourself to beat yourself up or to become your worst enemy because you're not able to process through the day like you feel like you should be able to. So I'm so happy that you've been able to reach a point to where you've been nice to yourself. We
I love
also
that.
we Pecan Brown's like, good evening, great ideas, pins and plans. I've been doing the dress and leggings too for that reason. I just realized it that you said that. Yes, those dresses have saved me. I have nothing but dresses. And another thing I did, and I moved my closet closer to the bathroom. And for me, because I had a hall closet that's right next to the to my bathroom, so for me to get dressed is just one big move. I'm stepping out the door, I can grab my dress, and it doesn't matter which dress I grab. I grab a dress and go in the bathroom. And so it just helps me a lot when I'm struggling. And let's see, the QOFE planner, not to
That that is, look, she pronounces that coffee.
coffee. Okay, the coffee planner.
The
But can I
coffee
do a
planner.
quick water check?
And y'all, thank y'all so much for coming over and joining the live. Look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like cut you off, but
Yeah, go ahead.
I do want to say thank you. I finally got on, and my comments might be delayed and all that stuff because I still don't have internet. And so it's like going on my data, and it's extremely slow. But y'all, thank y'all so much. I can see some of the comments. But yeah, okay, so I'm kind of looking at the comments. Uh, Water check. My water bottle is on the dining room table. Uh, the coffee planner is actually that's my accountability partner in the fitness, the physical wellness.
Yes.
And so we're doing a challenge together. And so yeah, she's checking on me.
That's, and I think let's open that up right there. Let's open that up because let's walk into that.
Okay, let's do
Because
it.
it is nothing wrong. Because with our physical wellness, we'll set ourselves up to have someone that can be supportive and accountable for us. But we don't always want to do that when it comes to our emotional or mental wellness. So let's talk
Yeah,
about this a little bit. A part
absolutely.
of managing,
That's a good conversation.
a part of managing your mental wellness is establishing a good support system. Understand this, and I'm going to say this very as clearly as I can. Your support system may not always be related to you. And I'm going to say that one more time, just in case for the people in the back who are hoping, wishing upon a star that somebody will come around, or they trying to figure out why they don't understand. The people who support you the most in your wellness, in your mental wellness, may not be the people who are related to you. And you need to find a way to be okay with that.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
what happens is that you're going to end up frustrated, wondering why they don't understand, and not appreciating the people who do. And that's where you need to spend your energy. Because when you don't have any energy, it's the people who are supporting you, they're going to pour into you when you need it.
That's
So,
true.
so let's, so, and it can be, and I'm not going to lie, it can be difficult. It's not easy. It wasn't automatic for me to find someone that I could say, hey, today I think I'm feeling suicidal. It wasn't easy to find someone that I could trust enough who could, one, handle that situation and sit with me through that. Those things can take time. to find someone. And it may not be that extreme. It may be you saying, I'm experiencing some anxiety today, or I had a panic attack today, or you feel yourself starting to slide. It is so important for that, because the people around you, they can catch those little things. They can say, hey, you've been a little snappy lately. You're like, so? But, they can catch those little things that you may not always be able to catch. And so that support system is important. And don't value or place value on the value of your support system, or the importance of your support system, on its size. Mm-hmm. Having one good person is better than having 5 people that aren't worth the flip.
So true. So true. All is about a good 2 or 3 people.
That's right.
And the reason why I say 2 or 3 people is because if one, people work, people have lives. And so if one isn't available, then you should definitely have a backup person that you can call. And so, I think 2 or 3 good people most of the time. You can get one out of 3.
And be okay.
Yeah, be
okay with
if they
that.
can't answer.
Yeah, and that's where you have your plan. That's where you're working your plan. You're working your plan. Whatever part of my plan is, I try to reach out to my people, and my people know my plan. My people know, Laqwanda, did you meditate? Laqwanda, did you go outside? Laqwanda, did you light some incense? Laqwanda, have you listened to your music? Have you danced around your room? Have you colored? What creative thing have you worked on? Did you stop writing? Did you stop doing your stuff? My people know my plan. So if I'm starting to say no to, I haven't done X, Y, Z, their response to me is going to be, Laqwanda, you need to start doing your things. Mm-hmm. So it's important that not only do you have your supportive people around you, but they also know the things that you do that bring you joy, that keep you well, the things that you do to manage, so that they can specifically ask you and give them permission. Yep. Grant them permission to ask. Everyone who knows me and knows that I manage a disorder cannot ask me, did I take my medicine? You will get a different type of Laqwanda. But there are a few people.
Some people say it to be snarky.
Yeah, who can ask me that question, and I know when they ask me that, they're being out of concern, because sometimes I do get I don't want to take medicine anymore. I'm tired of this. How come I feel fine? I don't need this anymore. Why do I have to keep doing this? I don't want to. I have my pity parties too. I honestly do.
Me too.
But give people permission. Give people permission. And that giving someone permission to talk to you about certain things makes you still feel as if you have ownership of the situation. You don't feel like people are making decisions on your behalf. You feel like they're making decisions with your permission.
Absolutely.
And you feel like you're still the captain of the ship, which is your life, and you should be the captain of that ship.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that, because especially everybody can't ask me the same like you. Everybody's not able to say, did you take your meds? Because I know a lot of times people will say that, and they're saying it to be funny, or they're saying it to be snarky, and it comes off as being very offensive. Because if we have moods too, that we get angry just like anybody else gets angry, And sometimes, I said this the other night, sometimes it's not that it's a disorder, that, sometimes you just piss me off. And, when I snap at you, it's because you pissed me off. It has nothing to do with the disorder. So don't come back with, well, did you take your meds? Because, I came back at you with, my response. Um, so yeah, so everybody is not allowed to ask about medicine. But my husband asked me just about, usually about 3 or 4 times a week. You know, he checks in with me to make sure that I take my meds. Usually about 2 or 3 times a day, he'll ask me what my number is. And when he says, "What's your number?" he's talking about my bipolar. I have a bipolar mood scale. And so I'll tell him exactly what number, where I am on the scale. And, he knows, if I'm at a 4, 5, 6, we're good. If I am at a 2, then that's not good. That means that I'm depressed. Then, that's exactly what you said. Then he's going to start asking me, okay, well, have you done this? Have you done that? You know, what happened? When did you start noticing that you were feeling like this? And of course, like I said, I have my triggers that I keep track of. And so I'm able to, if I can identify what the trigger was, I'm able to write that down. I can journal about it. I can, you know, I can just start tracking that and start taking action to try to get myself back into a safe zone, because I don't want to be in a depressed state when I don't have to be. When there are things that I can do to bring myself out of it, do it then, before it gets out of control and before I'm getting to where I'm really having the suicidal ideations and things like that. I'd rather catch it much earlier. And it's the same thing with mania. You know, there are certain things that I have to do to calm me down. I know that if I'm going into like a 7 or an 8, then I definitely don't need to be listening to, certain kinds of music. I need to be like very serene, bring it back down. I need to start meditating, which is very hard when you're ramped up. But um, you know, I have to have people around me who understand me enough to be able to talk to me about what's going on in a compassionate way. Because especially if I'm going into hypomania, I'm not most, a lot of times I'm not the friendliest person. Sometimes it's very, very happy. Sometimes it manifests as rage. Um, and it takes strong people who aren't going to be offended, if I'm cussing them out, because it happens. And they have to understand that this is me, this is the illness, and we are two different things. And sometimes the illness will make me act out of character. It'll make me say different things and do different things that I normally wouldn't do when I'm not ill. And so, um, speaking of that, my husband actually has a separate name for for it, and I'm not gonna say it on here, but he has, he has actually um personified the illness. And so he'll ask me, is that such and such creeping up? And I have to tell him, no, that's just, I'm okay. It's PMS today. That's not, it's not creeping up. But he's personified it to help him in his mind understand that that is different from who I am.
I think that's so key. We have a question that said, "What if you're out of state?" And I think it says, "When if you're out of state?" I said, I'm thinking you're replying to, you're meaning, what if you're out of state? A lot of my support networks are not with me. When I moved from Mississippi to the outside of DC, my main support system was still in Mississippi. And so a part of that is still being able to connect with people. So we video chat. I text message. We talk to each other on social media. It's for me, it's about having that connection and knowing that someone is willing to hear me during those moments. And so that's valuable. Um, so even though someone may not always physically be there with me, first, I am an introvert. People don't really know that because they see me all the time saying stuff, but I really, really am. I really am.
Me
So
too.
I do enjoy my alone time, but even in that, my support system pushes me to okay, find something to do, and and get out. And so I do make certain attempts to get out. But even though the way that technology is today, even though I may physically be by myself, I still have contact with my support system, especially when they live out of state. So that's not it's not a barrier.
Yeah, and I have a lot of my support system is out of state too, and I don't feel like they're out of state because
Yeah.
the internet and these cell phones have made the world a whole lot smaller. Like we can literally almost touch each other even though we're miles and miles away. So it
I
doesn't
know,
feel
especially, with social media, because we're like, we've known each other for years. I haven't met you yet.
exactly. Exactly. And
I
then
haven't met you yet.
when we do meet, it's like, oh my goodness, like
Hey, how you been?
yeah, it's not, it doesn't feel like we're strangers because I mean we're not strangers.
Not.
Yeah.
We're not. So we're to wrap up we'll take a couple of questions. So if you guys have any questions for us, you can go ahead and let us know those in the comment section. But just to round up, what do you think are some common mistakes or pitfalls that people make when they're managing their mental health?
Um, not knowing themselves, not being self-aware, not paying attention. I think if you really pay attention and you're true to yourself and you're honest with yourself, and that's one thing I do love about being able to be in the pages of my planner. And in my journals too. Now I can journal. I figured out how to journal. Actually, through planning, I figured out how to journal. But if you can be true to yourself and honest with yourself, um, and for me, it's in these pages. For somebody else, it might be in artwork. For somebody else, it might be in poetry or in some kind of spoken word. But if you can actually be honest with yourself and know, learn yourself, learn what makes you tick, learn what sets you off, learn, you know even those things that don't have anything to do with the illness. Know your own personality. Some people don't know their personalities, and I have somebody, some people that they don't know that they talk about people like a dog behind their back, and then get in their face like everything's okay. They don't realize that about themselves, but that's paying attention to yourself. There's probably several things that I do that I'm not aware of yet, but once I'm aware of it, I start to pay attention to those things. Um and track track. Like, for me, if it wasn't for me tracking, I wouldn't know what my triggers were. I wouldn't know what like mood swings and things like that. I probably wouldn't even pay attention to it. um the health stuff, drinking water really does help. Like, coffee's she's checking me on my water for fitness, but really I have more mental clarity when I'm drinking water because my brain is hydrated. Like, once my body's hydrated, my brain is hydrated, and I have more clarity. So yeah, to me, I think that's the biggest pitfall is not paying attention to what's changed, and not paying attention to um like I said, those things that make you tick. Not knowing yourself. Yeah.
And just to add a couple of things on that, I was like, one thing that I've noticed is that people, once they find out what may be going on with them, they get super excited because they finally know, and then they try to do too much at one time.
Mm-hmm.
This will always be a process.
It's always a process.
It will always be a process. You will always, some moments things will go right, some moments things won't go so right. you
Mm-hmm.
know but I think it's understanding that as you grow and you develop, as Tarchelle said, learning yourself and learning how you may respond to certain things as you go through life, then you slow yourself down and you're able to meet the marks that you're establishing for yourself. I would say people would get frustrated with themselves because they may view um, getting sick again as failing. And I would say to anyone that has happened to, because it's happened to myself recently at the beginning of this year, I was in a depressive episode. Um, Getting sick does not mean you are not taking care of yourself, because you can still do everything. I can still do everything by the book, and my illness can still be itself. It can still be that little monster.
Mm-hmm.
And it does not mean you did something wrong. So never, and it doesn't mean that your plan didn't work. It may need some adjustments, or you may need to talk with your therapist or your doctor some more, which I had to do. I got a whole new team in after the last one. Sometimes we did a whole sweep. It's like we got a whole new team in. And sometimes that happens, but it does not mean that you are not doing what you need to do to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. Well,
So
I do
go
want to
ahead.
flip my camera and just kind of
Go
show
ahead.
some of the things that I've done in my planner, and I do have a mental health playlist. So I do have a mental health playlist. So all of the things I'm intentionally showing you, some of the things that I've done, um, because I know that there are videos on it. So this is one of the daily sheets that I was saying that I use whenever, if I need to have like one of those days where I'm saying take my vitamins, take a shower, get dressed, you know, call somebody, because those are, these are like these crisis days. um Drink your water, sleep, because that's another thing. Go for me, walking. So it's like this one was just a sample that I did for my channel. I like to show people how to do it. I don't put my actual I'm not putting all of my actual stuff on social media, not putting my actual triggers and things. This sheet, it was just one, you know, where when you're researching and things like that, make it fun, make it fun. And so this one is one about bipolar disorder. I did one about anxiety. And these are real physical symptoms of anxiety. And it was just when I was doing some research and just pulled up those things. It's good to have those reference, especially in the beginning. If you get a diagnosis and you don't know what it is, that's a great way to learn. This is one of the exercises that I use to get grounded, and I don't always do it on paper, but I write down or I think about 5 things I can see, 4 things I can feel, 3 things I can hear, 2 things I can smell, and 1 thing I love about myself. And that's like when your mind is wandering and everywhere, that's a good place to, a good way to just bring yourself back. I mentioned my bipolar mood scale. This is my actual scale. I will say that this one, it's actually what I use. So when my husband asked me, like, what's your number? It actually has, like, these are my actual numbers. I have what each number means. And severe depression, mild to moderate depression, I'm balanced, hypomanic, and manic. So, um, countering negative thoughts with positive thoughts. That's another big one. And like I said, I have videos on all of that. This is one where it was just like waking up with a positive mindset. Sometimes we have to do things like that, like get up and start writing those positive things about yourself. So this one is an ABC thing. So every I found a positive word for every letter of the alphabet. And so, and then I put, I am amazing, I am beautiful, I'm charming. And so those kinds of exercises, they get your mind going. So I have several of these kinds of exercises and these kinds of things on my channel. But I did want to go ahead and show you guys some of that. Okay, I'm back on this side. But I did want to just, kind of show how I use my planners to manage my mental health. I also, like on my planning days, I have my mood trackers. Sometimes I use smiley faces and, the different faces because I have plenty of stickers. Sometimes I use the weather. So like the faces like that. What do you call them, emojis? Sometimes it's the weather. If I'm having a stormy day or if I'm having a bright day, it's a good day. Then I'll use those, the thumbs up and thumbs down. That's another good one. And so it makes it so much easier than just saying, I had a good day, I had a bad day. It makes it where I'm able to be creative and just, it's so much more fun. And then it's pretty because, pretty makes us feel good.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So one thing I'll do is that after the video renders, I will be sure to put your playlist, your mental health playlist, in the description box. So so for anyone who's looking for the videos, you can go over to Tarchelles B's YouTube channel, Tarchelle B, or you can click the link in the description box, and it will take you to Tarchelles B YouTube channel where you can view her mental health videos or all her other pretty planning videos because they are absolutely gorgeous.
Thank
And you can
you.
see her Wednesdays on Instagram and Facebook at Healing Black Women, and she is one of our fabulous contributors.
Thank you. Yes, Wednesdays. Yeah, Wednesdays. But literally every day, there's something good on there. Today's conversation was not for me, but it was about you better have my money, and it's real talk. Like that's what I love about Healing Black Women is that it's not necessarily focused on mental health, mental illness. It's real talk. And even my husband, he doesn't get on Instagram like that. But he'll get on there and he's not gonna like anything or anything like that. But he'll come back and tell me, oh, that was good, and not just mine, but he's a man and he's still able to gain from it. So it's not just information that's good for women. Of course, we gear it towards women.
Yes.
But it's good for everybody.
Yes,
And not
listen.
just Black women, not just Black men. It's like, so far, it's been great across the board for everybody. So I'm honored to even be a part of Healing Black Women.
Yeah,
To me,
we're so thankful to have you and thankful to everyone who's been supporting us thus far. We will continue to grow and promote all the platforms that speak wellness and life into the life of others. We have hit the 9 o'clock hour, and I would like to say thank you so much to everyone who had came through tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for joining. The people
Thanks.
who came over from my channel, let me just give y'all a special shout out and say thank you so much. I see y'all, and I do appreciate y'all. Y'all rock with me hard, and I love y'all.
And thank you so much for everyone who stayed with us. We know it was an hour long, but hey, we had a great time, Tarchelle B. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you so much for being the inspiration for me being back. on YouTube in a way that makes me feel happy and makes me feel confident in doing what I'm doing. So I will forever be grateful for you planting this seed in me for me to continue to do the work that I love.
I told
So
you we feed off of each other. Like seriously, we're feeding off of each other because I would never, if it wasn't for you even talking about mental health on the internet, I would have never opened my mouth. Well, I don't think I would have. I
yeah,
wouldn't have. I don't think I would have had the courage to open my mouth and admit that I have a disorder of any kind. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you having me on, and I love it. So
thank you so much. Well,
we'll
thank
be
you guys
together
for joining
online
us.
for a while.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it, and we will catch you next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where we will have another special guest. And you can follow me at Laqwanda's Heart, or you can find me also at Healing Black Women. And you can find Tarchelle at Tarchelle B on Instagram, Facebook, and
Everywhere.
YouTube, everywhere.
Everywhere. I'm Tarchelle B.
All right, you guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.